Hello everyone, this is a demo of the Mini Countryman 2012, this car is, and it's really going to be the same across the Mini lineup, so if you have a Clubman or a Coupe or a Roadster, you may find this video helpful as well. I'll first start off by saying sorry for the dirty car. It's sort of tough keeping your car clean in these wintry mixed conditions here in Connecticut. So let's start on the demo here. From the front of the car, looking at it, you have two headlights, obviously one on either side. This car is the optional bi xenon headlamps. Definitely recommend it. Great headlights. You have washer jets, heated washer jets with the cold weather package. This car, washer jet broke off. That's being replaced under warranty. This is your bi xenon bulb. This car has the optional adaptive headlights, so when you turn the wheel, the bulb turns left and right to help see around corners. It's a nice feature. Below that you have your turn signals, and then moving across, this car has the optional mini driving lights accessory installed. They're a nice feature, makes the car look a little more beefy. On Cooper S and JCW models, you have a hood scoop, and normally up there on the R53s and 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, and 55. On the R60 Countryman and R61 Paceman, you have a hood scoop right here, sort of a grill scoop, and that just lets more air get to the radiator in most cases. In this case, I have a Tyrrell Sport intercooler on this car, so it helps cool the intercooler air, which is nice. Moving farther down on Cooper S and JCW models, again, you have these two little holes in the grill, in the bottom grill, and those are brake cooling ducts. So the air goes into that. It is piped through the back of the brake discs, and it helps cool them off. Also a nice little styling feature. On the light section below here, you have two little bulbs in the front sections. You have the top bulb, which is a running light, so anytime your headlights are on, that bulb will be lit up. I've changed mine to LEDs all around. The bottom bulb is your fog light, so when you hit the fog switch inside the car, it'll light up those bottom lights right there. Okay, so keep moving around the vehicle. You have your side scuttle here, which houses your turn signal. Obviously wheels. These wheels, if you're wondering, are off an E92 BMW M3. And really nothing much to say on the outside here as far as styling features. If you're wondering, this is the JCW brake cooling duct is fake, and air just sort of gets stopped and caught in there. Moving around, you have your gas cap right here. Anytime the car is locked, your gas cap will be locked. You just open it right up. You can go like this, and the nice thing is you have a little holder for your gas cap when you're filling up with gas, so it doesn't scratch your paint. So we'll close that back up. Keep moving around to the back end. You have dual exhaust exits on the Cooper S and JCW models. This JCW Aero kit gives it a little bit of a different look. You open the trunk. I would hope you know this if you have a car, but you open it by just pushing this in and pulling up on it. That opens it up. You have one rear windshield wiper, and your antenna for your FM, AM, and weather band is going to be this, and then your Sirius satellite radio antenna is the front section of that piece right there. Okay, so keep moving around the side, pretty much the same. Now let's get into how the key works on the car. There's quite a few cool things you can do with this key. So I'll lock the car right now just by pushing the lock button. And this car has comfort access, so I can keep the key in my pocket. Just walk up to it, push this button here, and it unlocks the car. I have it set inside to unlock all four doors. I'll go through later on in how to change settings as far as that goes. Now, if let's say it's a hot day out and you're walking to your car across the parking lot and you want the windows to come down and the sunroof to pop open, all I have to do is hold the unlock button and the windows will roll down and the sunroof will pop open. And unfortunately you can't close all the windows by hitting the lock button. What you have to do with that, you have to come around the side of the car to the driver's side. You have to take your key out, insert it into the lock here. Once you hear the little beep and your doors lock, then the windows will go up and the sunroof will close. So that's how that works. That's really it for the exterior of the car. Next time I'll see you will be on the inside. Hey guys, so now we're in the interior, and I'll just go over sort of the big stuff, and then in the next section I'll go into more detail on how certain parts of the interior switches and buttons work. So starting out on the steering wheel, you have your steering wheel controls left and right. This is your cruise control. This is your radio controls and volume. This is your push to talk in 2011 and 2012 models. They canceled that for 2013. And this is your phone switch to answer a call, hang up a call, or to bring your Mini connected to the phone screen. Right here is your tachometer. It'll show your speed in this window here. And then I have JCW sport gauges, so this is relative torque, and this is engine temperature. One thing, these cars don't come with an engine temperature gauge, so you never know when it's warmed up or not. But I'll show you a little trick later on how to tell. Over here you have your dinner plate size speedometer. And in case you're wondering why the speedometer is so big on these cars, it dates back to when they were rallying. The classic Minis, like Sir Alec over there, the co-pilot needed to see how fast the driver was going, and rather than adding an auxiliary speedometer for the passenger side, they just put one, well, relatively normal sized one in the middle. And then when BMW bought the Mini name in 2000, or 2001, I believe they bought it, they just, sort of emphasized that a little bit more. Moving down on the center stack, you have your CD input here, radio controls, volumes, this knob, this is with Mini connected. You can switch between presets. I'll go over how this works in a little bit. And then you have your HVAC controls, so you have heat, AC button right here. I'll go into more detail again on this. Then you have some switches. You have your heated seats here, great heated seats. Front left, back left windows, central locking, back right, front right window, and then heated seat switch here. This is your front fog switch. You have your rear window cancellation, so if you have kids in the back and you don't want them rolling down the windows, you can hit that. It just bypasses the switch in the rear. Sport button, and then your DSC traction button right here. I'll go into more detail on that. Moving back here, you have your shifter, depending if you have an automatic or a manual. Manual's pretty straightforward, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 over here. Reverse is all the way over to the left and up. And I'll go into an automatic transmission when I get to that car. And then you have your Mini connected controls. Your handbrake right here, sort of like a fighter pilot. Don't know why they put such a big one on, but there's a little button you push right down at the bottom. You lift it up and it goes right down. And then to engage it, you just pull up on it and it latches there. Moving to the center armrest stack here, I have the optional iPhone holder. I use this to connect to the Mini connected. That's the phone I use. You can lift it up and it goes all the way back down, and you can actually raise the height. So if you want to go one notch up, it'll stop there. You want to go another notch, it'll go right here. And to set it down to the back, lift it all the way up, pop it right down the bottom. Now it's at its lowest height. Moving up to the switches over here, that's me, hello. I have a hardwired Valentine 1 there, if you're wondering what that is. Over here you have your front left map light. I've switched that out to LEDs, as you can hopefully see in there, maybe not. Yes, yep, there you go. Then you have your car lights, so this will light up the center rear light here and all the 4 lights under the doors. I don't know if you can tell that. It's really dirty down there, sorry about that, but it's lit up under there. That's what this switch does. This is your sunroof switch. I'll show you how this works. if you pull it back once, it'll crack the back of either one, and it's really snowing out there. Good, you know, the wind gusts are going, so I won't open it all the way. But to open it all the way, look at all that snow. A lot of wind. You just pull it back, and it'll open. You keep pulling till it closes, and then you just push to shut it. A cool trick is if you want to shut it from open and just leave it cracked, there's two little notches. Just push it one notch, and it'll stay with the front and rear cracked, like that, which is a nice feature, so you don't have to close it and then reopen it. Moving on to this switch right here, this is your lighting controls for all the LEDs here. So pushing it forward changes the color, so I'll be pushing the knob forward, changes the color here, and then to change the brightness you pull it back. So I'm going to keep pulling it back, and then when it flashes 2 or 3 times, that means that it's at its lowest. And then if I keep pulling, now it's at its highest setting. So it flashes when it lets you know when you're at your lowest or highest. Now there's also disco mode feature. I don't believe they have an actual name, but that's what I call it. You push it forwards and it'll rotate through all the colors. By the way, you can stop at any color you want. And once you get back to the color that you started at, it'll flash twice, and now the colors throughout the whole car will continue rotating. So you have lights in the door handles over here. You have them inside this door ring. You have them down the whole center rail. I don't know, sorry for the mess in the car. I haven't cleaned this in a little while. You have them same on here and in the back doors as well. And to cancel that, you just push it forwards at any color you want, and it'll just stay there. And same for the map light here. This car has the integrated compass on the mirror, so that just lets you know where it is, what direction you're heading in. And also, your microphone, if you haven't done the microphone mod, is on this side of the car. So if you're on a left-hand drive car, or how most cars are, actually all Countrymen are in the States, the pickup from the microphone's not going to be as great as if it was on this side. So what I did, and a lot of people do, is they take this unit out and basically just move the microphone over to this side. I'm not sure whether they don't do that from the factory, but it would be nice if they did. Moving around, I think that's pretty much all the big stuff. You have Harman Kardon sound system in this car, and there's speakers all around. If you have the Harman Kardon sound system, you have a subwoofer under each seat as well, under each front seat. So I believe there's a total of 4 subwoofers with the Harman Kardon. That's really it. So next time, in the next section, we will go over more in detail of all these features. And this is a brief overview on the non-automatic climate control. So you can turn this knob, set the air wherever you want it to go. This is your heat and cold, and then this is your fan speed. So it's self-explanatory, very simple to use. This is your rear window defrost, this is your recirculating air on the inside, and this is your AC compressor. This is how to use the automatic climate control. I'll go over the features of the buttons. This is hotter, colder for air temperature. Fan speed's going to be on this side, up and down. You have which direction you want the flow to go. You can choose which combination of the 3 you want. You have recirculating air here, and then max AC, which will actually run an auxiliary cooling fan in the engine bay. So if you have a really hot day, or if your temperature gauge, if you have one, starts to get up pretty high, you can hit max AC and turn the fan down like this, and just put it down on 1. It'll run an extra fan in the engine and sort of get some hot air out of there. It's a cool little feature. And then you just hit max to cancel out. Also, anytime you hit the auto feature of this, it'll run the AC compressor. This is going to drain your fuel economy. It will lower performance and acceleration. So what I always like to do is just turn that off, and it is there's no real reason for it unless it's hot outside. In the winter time, if you have it on high, then you don't need your AC compressor on, so just make sure that's off. One other cool feature is to tell when your car's warmed up completely, and you can start driving it a little bit more spiritedly, is if you put it in auto and you have it on high, if the fan speed goes all the way to the max, your car's warmed up to operating temperature. Otherwise, it'll just slowly creep up while your car's warming up until you're at operating temperature. Also, another feature is if you have a Cooper S and you hit the sport button, and if you hear popping and burbling out of the exhaust, you know your car's warmed up as well. It won't do it until it's up to operating temperature. So those are some cool features on the automatic climate control. You also have your front window defrost and your rear window defrost right here. So that's how that works. So this is going to be a little bit, just some side notes on the manual transmission. I know it's pretty straightforward. You have clutch and you can choose what gear you want to be in. But you always want to make sure you're taking off in first gear right around 12 to 1500 RPM. Anything higher than that, you're going to fry your clutch, and it's just not good for the car. So, I mean, it's always good to practice keeping the revs as low as possible without stalling the engine when taking off. And also, when you're on the highway, just throw it in 6th gear. There's no reason to keep the revs up high in 4th gear if you're cruising along at 70 miles an hour. Just make sure you're in 6th. It's better for the engine and better for fuel economy. Hey guys, so now I'm in an automatic equipped Countryman, and I'm going to go over how the automatic transmission works. So, park reverse neutral drive, same as any other car. You can just drive it around in D. That's going to optimize shift points for fuel economy, not for performance. What you can do to the settings, once you're in D, you can move the shifter over to DS, which will then show DS over here in the cluster. And then from DS mode, you can go into manual shifting. So you can push it forwards to downshift and pull it back to upshift. Same with both the paddles. See how I pulled it back last? So I'm in M2, which is 2nd gear. If I push it forwards, it'll go into 1st. If I pull it back, up into 2nd, 3rd, and so on. Same with this side as well. So if I pull this back, 2nd, 3rd, 1st. That's nice if you're on a twisty road or you want to choose what gears you're in. You know, you can use the paddle shifters, down for up, down for down, and then pull for up, and then you can choose what gear you're in. You can always just go back to D anytime, and it'll put you back into drive. Now when you hit the sport button right here, that's going to automatically put you in the DS setting, which is the same as moving the transmission over here without the sport button. So if you don't want the steering to be tighter or the throttle response or the popping, but you want the transmission to be in sport mode, all you have to do is move the shifter over, and there you are. And then from this mode, you can paddle shift as well once it's over. So it's the same way that'll work. Anytime you're in regular D or DS, you can touch the paddle shifters, and it'll go to M1, 2, 3, for, you know, it'll just keep going, and you can use the paddle shifters. For example, if you're going down a hill, you don't want to put it in full manual, you can tap the paddle down once or twice, downshift the car, and then it'll go back to D after a few seconds. So it gives you a little bit of control, but it'll always revert back to drive or drive sport in this mode once the transmission's over on this side. Now, a few things to note. On the throttle pedal itself, right down here, you have you can go full throttle, and then once you're at full throttle, if you push a little bit more, there's a button at the bottom, and that little button is going to force the transmission to downshift and give you maximum power. So for example, if I'm in M2 right now, and let's say I was going 20 miles an hour, I was in 2nd gear, and if I push that little button at the bottom, even in M mode, it'll put it down into 1st and it'll take off. So no matter what mode you're in, you hit that button, the car's gonna downshift to the lowest gear possible to give you the maximum power to get out of a situation. And that's how the auto works. Sorry for the glare in the speedometer, but I'm going to go over how to use this non-mini connected equipped system right here. So to start, you have your power button on the left side. This is your volume knob, and you can see it's set to FM right now. You can choose what mode you want it to be in by hitting mode. You can choose any sort of input. When you plug in your iPod or USB, really your iPod, these two are going to merge and it's just going to say iPod right here. So if I go to satellite radio, for example, I'm in Sirius, I can choose what I want to be in. This will go through the channels, down and up, these two buttons. This right here will cycle through your presets, and also you can select the coordinating preset here if you so wish. Going back to that's audio controls. It goes more in depth than that, but you can figure it out mainly from there. You can tune to any channel you want. Um, Going back to the main menu, you have your phone. You can hook up your Bluetooth phone. Example, that's a very simple process. You just pair it from the car into the phone. I'll explain how to do that with Mini Connected. It's the same for this system here. You have your computer, which gives you consumption, speed, range, and temp. These two you can reset. This obviously you can't. So to reset, you just push in on each one, and then you could just say reset by pushing the reset button right here, and then it'll give you average consumption from that. Configuration gives you a few settings on how you want the car to, display the miles per hour and the temperature. Those should pretty much, you never really have to touch those except the time. That's how you change the time here using these controls. And that's really this system. Not a lot to it, pretty simple to use. You have this little music note is going to bring you to your audio controls, and this is a shortcut to bring you to the phone screen. And since there's no phone connected to this car right now, I push it, nothing happens. And that's how to use the non-mini connected system right here. Okay, mini connected. This is your home screen when you're fully backed out. You have different options of menus to go into and choose from. It's actually a very simple and easy to use system. Starting at the top, you have vehicle info, and this will give you certain different trip status and vehicle status, things pertaining to your car. When you hit the home button down here, this will always bring you back to the home menu, and this will cycle through 3 different applications. It'll cycle through your audio, your phone, and your navigation, and it'll just keep going through all 3. It's a nice shortcut button if you need to get to any of those apps. We've sort of talked about text messaging in the group before, but if you go to Office right here and you have a new text message, you can scroll over and get your messages, and they'll all pull up in here. All of your text messages you've gotten on your phone, if it's connected to the car, and you have messages checked on the Bluetooth settings in your iPhone or Android. I'm not sure if it works with Android. I know it works with iPhone. This is your navigation, phone, radio, all of your external inputs to the sound system, some settings you can go through, and Mini Connected runs off of the iPhone app, so all the features in there, you have to have an iPhone connected, either plugged into your USB port down here through the little Y connector that Mini gives you, or into the armrest optional connection. And you can download the Mini Connected app on your iPhone, and it's a whole thing you can do in there. It's very cool. The car will even talk to you. And that's the basics of Mini Connected. Oh, controls here, you have your volume up and down. This mutes it and unmutes it when you push it in. This will be a quick shortcut, this button right here, between going from satellite radio, I guess my sister's been listening to music, and if you go back to your iPod, which is if you hit that again. This right here is a quick AM, FM. This is Sirius and iPod or any external media you were listening to. AM, FM. Change songs left and right, and this will eject your disc that happens to be in here. But no one listens to CDs anymore, so that doesn't even matter. Now, let's get into the sport button. When you press this button, it'll light up green, and you'll get a little sport indication in the tachometer over here. What this button does is it will increase steering feel. It will reduce electric assist by 20%. You will get increased throttle response, popping and burbling on the S, and in a automatic transmission, it'll automatically put you into the DS setting, as I said previously. On a manual transmission, it will not affect the gearing, and it does not affect the suspension in any way. So that's basically what the sport button does. To go into more detail on what the DSC and dynamic traction control button does, on full on mode, which is anytime you start the car, it will always be fully on, the system's activated and armed to say. What it'll do is if the car starts to slide out, or if you're trying to climb a hill on slippery surface or your wheels are spinning, it's going to cut the power of the engine and to reduce your wheel spin and to bring you straight back on the road. So if the back end of the car starts to come around, it'll break certain wheels and cut throttle, therefore bringing you into a straight line. when you press it once on all four models, and it's an option on the S and the regular Cooper, it will come up with this little off button right here, and it'll also show up as traction under your miles an hour. What this mode does is it sort of limits the amount of intervention the DSC system gives. So it'll let you have a little bit more slip, it'll let you get a little bit more sideways, it'll let you have some fun without going to spin the car out completely. It'll still watch over you, but let you have a little bit more leeway. This is good for if you're going through deep snow, because the DSC fully on will just kill your power and stall your engine if you're going to be spinning. Or if you're just on a twisty road and you want to get the car a little loose, but you don't want to have full control over it in case you spin out, this is always a good feature. Now, if you want to go into a snowy parking lot and just do donuts and have fun like that, you can just push this button in for a few seconds. It'll show up DSC off over here. It'll also say DSC inactive on the mini connected screen if so equipped. And what this does is it basically just leaves ABS on, and that's it. All of your other traction control and stability control features are turned off completely. So you are in full control of the car. If you start to slide out, it's not going to prevent you from doing so. And it's a good mode to have some fun in, but you better know how to handle the car. Car. And that's basically how the system works.